Namaste and welcome, dear friends, to today's Bhagavad Gita class. As always, we shall begin our class with a prayer. Heavenly Father, Divine Mother, Friend, Beloved God, Bhagwan Krishna, Jesus Christ, Mahavatar Babaji, Lahiri Mahashai, Swami Shri Yukteswarji, Beloved Gurudev Paramhansa Yogananda Ji, Saints and sages of all religions, humbly we bow at thy feet. Beloved Lord Krishna, thou art the essence of everything. Help us to feel thee, to realize thee in every fiber of our being, in every thought and emotion. Awaken our heart, Lord, and bring us home. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Let us now sing the hymn to Brahma and a chant and interiorize our attention, bring our energy to this present moment and bring our attention to the point between the eyebrows. Integrating our energy, opening up our heart, let us offer our love and gratitude to the Divine and invite Krishna's presence in our hearts and minds so that we can understand this beautiful scripture. Let us all chant together. Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwara, Guru Sakshat Parabrahma, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Brahmanandam Paramasukhadam Kevalam Jnanamurtim Dvandvatitam Gagana Sadrisham Tattvamasyadilakshayam Ekam Nityam Vimalam Achalam Sarvadhi Sakshi Bhutam Bhavatitam Triguna-rahitam Sadgurum Tvam Namami. Tvameva Mata cha Pita Tvameva, Tvameva Bandhu cha Sakha Tvameva, Tvameva Vidya Dravidam Tvameva, Tvameva Sarvam Mama Deva Deva, Tvameva Sarvam Mama Deva Deva. I have made thee pole star of my life. I have made thee pole star of my life. Though my sea is dark and my stars are gone, though my sea is dark and my stars are gone, still I see the path through thy mercy. Still I see the path through thy mercy. I have made thee pole star of my life. I have made thee pole star of my life. Though my sea is dark and my stars are gone, though my sea is dark and God indeed is the pole star of our life. If we keep our vision fixed on Him, then all the other movements of life, the difficulties, the challenges, the impermanence, all of that becomes less painful. Let us hold on to the Lord with all our hearts, all our mind, all our strength, and all our soul. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Welcome, my dear friends, to the 45th class of the Bhagavad Gita. We are studying chapter 5. In fact, we are going to finish chapter 5 today. In the last class, we did shlokas number 18 to 23. So we'll quickly revise them before we move on forward. In shloka number 18, Krishna says to Arjuna, "Self-realized sages behold with an equal eye a learned Brahmin, a cow, an elephant, a dog, and an outcast." Now, why is this and how is this? It is because when the wise ones, the sages who have Atma Drishti, who see the oneness of everything, in their superconscious perception of that oneness, they know that every variety, every color, every form, and every name is basically having that common substratum of the one infinite light, the one vibration of Om. And because these sages can see that power of Om behind the creation and the light beyond that, the cosmic consciousness, therefore it is easy for them to see everything, every object, every living being, every invisible thing like thoughts and emotions, everything to be that one Brahman, to be that one Atman. And therefore they are, compassionate with all together. In shloka number 19, Krishna says, the relativities of existence. What are the relativities being talked about? The means birth, death, pleasure, pain. They have been overcome by those who have fixed equal mindedness. They are enthroned in the taintless spirit. Now, this truth about equal mindedness, or sometimes on a subtle basis, it has been talked of even mindedness in all experiences. This is a practice that we must entail ourselves upon. This is a tapasya for us, that as we live each day and as situations try to poke us, provoke us, or are pleasurable or painful, then we must try to remain even-minded in our heart. We should try to restrain and refrain from the likes and dislikes, from the desires and the attachments that are developed as our senses come in contact with the objects of this world. So this is a homework for all of us, that we practice even-mindedness, and then we come to equal-mindedness when we can say that yes, a Brahmin or a human, an animal, a plant, a rock, or an emotion, everything is just that one Brahman. In shloka number 20, Krishna continues. He says, the knower of spirit, who is abiding in the Supreme Being, he has unswerving discrimination and he is free from delusion. Therefore, he or she is neither jubilant when pleasant experiences come, nor downcast when unpleasant experiences come. Now, this is a very important pointer for us, because we tend to get very excited when happy, comfortable, and pleasing things are happening in life, and we become very downcast or melancholic or sad or irritated when things are not happening according to our way. Now, does this shloka mean that man becomes a robot, that he has no reactive process? Happy things are happening, beautiful things are happening, he's not reacting. Is that what is meant by the shloka? No, not at all. So if the sage is not getting excited by a pleasurable substance or an experience, then is he not happy? Is he a totally sad person? No, the next shloka actually explains to us what really is the experience of this sage, of this Muni, who is not excited by simple pleasures of daily life. And what I mean is excited by the pleasing experiences of life. Of course, as we grow and we mature, we do enjoy the simple pleasures of daily life in a very, inward, joyful manner. So here we're contrasting basically excitement of pleasing experiences versus another kind of happiness. In shloka number 21, Krishna goes on to explain. He says, unattracted to the sensory world, the yogi experiences ever new joy inherent in his self. So he's not saying that the yogi is a sad person, is a robotic person. He is a rather happier person. Why? Because engaged in divine union, he attains indestructible bliss. So this is our goal. We want to attain indestructible bliss, which is unconditional. We want to be happy at all times in our heart. Of course, sometimes tragic situations are happening on the outside. So we behave appropriately and we respond appropriately. But in the deepest recess of our heart, we want to have that calm joy which does not leave us ever. And this is the promise of the scripture. So for a person who is wise enough to become equal-minded when birth and death happen, when pleasure and pain happen, who is not jubilant when sudden pleasurable things happen, and not sad when unpleasurable things happen, what does he gain? He gains indestructible bliss. And therefore, it is again both, it becomes our duty that we want that indestructible bliss. So let me practice even-mindedness very, very thoroughly. So try to control your reactions, change your reactive process into an appropriate response. And that will happen only when you have learned to pause in between your thoughts. And how will you be able to pause in between your thoughts? When you have some control over your breathing and your prana. And how will that happen? That will happen only when you have trained yourself in regular meditative practice. Unless you train yourself to quieten your prana and to quieten the thoughts, how will you enter the space which is in between the thoughts, the pause which allows you to respond rather than react? So therefore, meditation becomes the easiest and the shortest path through which you can change your reactive processes, and you can happily, in a higher happiness sense, in the bliss sense, respond to this world, because this is a dream drama created by the Lord for our entertainment and for our education. In shloka number 22, Krishna says, O son of Kunti, because sense pleasures spring from the outward contact and have a beginning and an end, they are begetters of misery. No sage seeks happiness from them. So again, a very, very important pointer for us. Krishna is saying no wise man ever seeks his happiness from the outside world of senses. Why? Because all of these have a beginning and an end. So it's something like, a beautiful river is flowing. Let us say Ma Ganga is flowing and we are enjoying the process of watching Ma Ganga. But then we leap out our hand and we want to hold on to the water of the flowing river. Now, we are not going to be able to do that. And as many times we try to do that, because of the failure of the process, we are going to feel sad about it. So because everything has a beginning and an end, you cannot hold on to it. Even if you try hard, you cannot grasp it. Just like water through the hand or like sand through the hand, it will go away. So the problem with us is we get attached to pleasurable experiences, and we want more and more of those pleasurable experiences, and it's not going to happen because it is an illusion. That moment has already passed. You cannot reproduce that same moment, just like you cannot have the same water flowing through the same spot of the river. So we have to understand this, that as many times as we try to grasp happiness from this outside world, this a world which is in constant motion, it appears relatively solid to us because we cannot see the changing electrons. Our body appears so real and solid to us, but if we would really know that within an year, almost all electrons or atoms of our body are replaced, then we are not able to see the change, the movement. That is why we think it is still. But no, entire life, all objects, all experiences of this world are of fleeting nature, ephemeral in nature. They will not stay, and therefore they can never give you lasting happiness. And our heart seeks that indestructible bliss, that lasting happiness, which this world cannot provide. This world can at best provide you with certain attractions, certain bright colors, certain fragrances, anything that appeals to the senses. It, it tells you, come, 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 get me. And then it disappears. So you think you will get happiness from the world, but you never get happiness. It is like a dead end, dead end. And Krishna is clearly saying, anybody who is wise does not seek happiness from this world. So we must correct our course. All our sadness, in fact, all our pain, in fact, is because our expectation of happiness from this world have been broken. So if from today we can, slightly change little by little, if we can change our thought process, little by little, we can affirm that I am the Atman itself. I am the source of all joy. So we will be able to, withdraw the energy and time invested into the world. And we can become more interiorized towards the direction where actually all bliss lies. So it becomes our daily work. It has to be done moment to moment, day by day. It's not that, okay, today let me enjoy the pleasures of the senses, and then someday will come when I will turn inside, and then this journey will have to be undertaken sooner or later. Why not now? That should be our attitude. Once we have intelligently understood that this is a world which will keep changing, this will not give me lasting happiness, then I must become wise and intelligent enough to withdraw my investment from this world and to invest my time and energy and attention inwards, where actually I will find that fountain of bliss which I am always seeking. Shloka number 23. Krishna continues. He says, he is truly a yogi who on this earth and up to the very time of death is able to master every impulse of desire and wrath. He is a happy man. So again, are we looking for happiness? Yes. So what are we to do? If we were to follow only this shloka of the Bhagavad Gita, we will be forever happy. What does this say? It says that even to your last breath, if you were to conquer two things, you will be happy. What are those two things? One is desire, the other is anger. We know the nature of desire. It can never be fulfilled. As soon as a desire is fulfilled, another is arising. And if it is not fulfilled, then the younger brother of anger, that is created. So Duryodhan and Dushasan, they go hand in hand. So if we can curb this desire and wrath or anger, then moment by moment, this has to be done. Then till the end of life, if we are able to fight this battle within, then we are going to be forever happy. And in the further shlokas, we'll read how this happiness can actually be carried beyond this lifetime. Okay. So an interesting thought is that both Duryodhan and Dushasan were killed by Bhim in the battle of Mahabharata, if we go into the historical concept. And now if we bring the metaphorical concept and the mystical concept in between, Bhim represents the power to control prana. He's the prana shakti. And we have the techniques of meditation like Kriya Yoga, which involve the control of prana. Once you are practicing a deep Kriya Yoga, then automatically you will have the power to conquer Duryodhan and Dushasan. So you don't have to think to yourself that, how am I going to kill my anger? How am I going to kill my desire? Oh, they keep erupting. You have to focus your attention on practicing your prana control. And automatically desire and wrath will be killed without doing anything extra. Of course, one extra thing you need, that is inviting Krishna. So without Krishna's help, Bhima could not have killed Duryodhana. We should remember that. We have to be, the desires are so powerful that they have to be trigged by the mind. They have to be trigged by the soul intelligence. And therefore, the power of prana control together with the intelligence of Krishna, when these combine, then automatically Duryodhan is killed. And if there is no Duryodhan, then there is no question of Dushasan being present. So because if there is no desire, it will not be thwarted and there will be no anger arising. Okay. This brings us to the next shloka, which is shloka number 24. Yo anta sukho antara ramasta atthantar jyotirevaya Sayogi Brahma Nirvanam Brahma Bhuto Adhigacchati. केवल वह योगी जिसके पास आंतरिक परमानंद है, जो आंतरिक आधार पर स्थित है, जो आंतरिक आकाश के साथ एक है, वह परमात्मा के साथ एक हो जाता है। यानी भौतिक, सूक्ष्म और कारण शरीरों से संबंधित कर्मों से मुक्त होने पर शरीर में रहते हुए भी वह परमात्मा में पूर्ण मुक्ति प्राप्त करता है। Only that yogi who possesses the inner bliss, who rests on the inner foundation, who is one with the inner light or the inner sky, becomes one with spirit after attaining freedom from karma connected with physical, astral, and ideational bodies. He attains complete liberation in spirit even while living in the body. So, very, very important shloka for us. So normally let's talk about a liberated being. So in a normal course of action, what is being said, there are 3 points being given here. So one who is internally happy, who is stabilized in himself, one who sees the inner light of the Atman, that person is liberated. But is it so easy to get liberated? Master says that you have to be freed from all levels of karma. Karma at the physical level, karma at the astral level, karma in the causal body. All of that karma, once that is resolved and dissolved, only then you will become finally liberated. Now, this process takes a lot of time. This evolutionary process is very, very slow. So in a normal circumstance, when the physical body is shed, means the normal physical death that we are familiar with, the physical body is shed, the soul with its astral and causal bodies goes into the astral universe. It stays into the astral universe for as long as the karma that he has done on earth, that takes to fructify, or whether it is enjoyable or whether it is harsh. And then after that, he is reborn into this earth. So she shifts between physical births on earth versus astral births in the astral universe. So now a point comes in his slow evolution as he is educated over lifetimes. A point comes where he finishes all his physical karma, but still there is astral karma. So at this point, once he leaves his physical body, he doesn't come back again on earth. So he stays in the astral universe, but then he has to resolve and dissolve the astral karma, and then the same cycle happens between the astral and the causal universes. So once he leaves the astral body, he stays in the causal universe for some time, and then when the time is elapsed where that karma is resolved, then he comes back again to astral. So again, in between astral and causal, he has to spend that time, evolve further, till he has to drop the astral ego as well as the causal ego, because the soul is egoless, the soul is infinite and eternal. So till as the time the soul is identified with anybody, whether it is the gross physical body, or it is the astral energy body, or it is the causal body of ideas, as long as the soul is attached to any of these levels, it is going to be bound, and it will have to go through the slow evolutionary process, which is also called videha mukti, means leaving the bodies eventually and then getting merged with spirit, being one with spirit. So now this is a very, very difficult proposition. It is very intimidating. It appears to be very harsh and painful to the human heart. So there comes the process of Kriya Yoga. The technique of Kriya Yoga is supposed to be the airplane route to God, because even while you are living in a physical body, you can work upon the prana directly. And because prana is midway between the body on the one hand, matter, and mind on the other hand, means the causal universe. Therefore, by working on the prana, you can simultaneously work on both sides. And if you are very, very, if you have that mumukshutva, means intense yearning for God, and if you are devotional, so that will add to the power of your Kriya Yoga practice. One is the scientific way where you are controlling the prana, plus you have the bhav, plus you have the bhakti, plus you are also contemplating, and even when you're doing the work outside, you are selflessly working. So once all of this gets combined, then even in the physical body, the karma which is present, which is lodged in the chakras, all of that can be resolved and it can be dissolved. Therefore Kriya Yoga becomes that airplane route. And also, it is important to understand that the yogi is not tempted by the outside world. Why he is not tempted by the outside world? Because he has already tasted the inner bliss. And therefore, when we are faced on a daily basis by temptations, all the time temptations and challenges are around us, is it sufficient that we just keep fighting the temptation? No, no, I'm not going to look that side. No, no, I should not indulge. So if this is more intellectual behavior, if we do not actually practice God contact or contact with our own Atman by the practice of meditation, this is going to be a futile process and a very difficult process. So on the one hand, you withdraw the energy from the sensory outside world, but on the other hand, the available energy and attention you have to occupy somewhere. And that is where you hold on to the technique of meditation, which will take you to the experience of that inner communion or that stillness or the inner bliss. Now, once you have tasted that inner bliss on your own, then automatically you won't want to invest your energy and time in the outside world. So on the one hand, you help yourself by not giving into temptation. So you develop enough willpower to say no. On the other hand, you actively engage, you become proactive in your meditative practices so that you have one first-hand experience of God and His bliss, and so that it is easy for you not to have any desire in this world. So this is very, very important. Therefore, people who think that, okay, let me just lead a good life and, I'll only morally and ethically correct, that is also okay. That is also not bad. But that is going to lead to a slower evolution into all of that karmic cycles that we just talked. If you want to attain God now means in this life, and the promise of the scripture is that you can attain Him in this life, then you have to be proactive. Your passivity will not help. You have to bring in that self-effort with enthusiasm, with love. You have to practice the techniques and the teachings given by the Guru. You have to make the teachings alive in your life. And moment by moment, you will find that the hold that the world has on you starts to decrease. The same things that would attract you earlier, they do not attract you anymore now. Okay. This brings us to shloka number 25. Labhante brahma nirvana mrishya shina kalmasha chinna dvaidhayatatmana sarvabhuta hite rata. ऐसे ऋषि संत जो पाप मुक्त, संदेह मुक्त, इंद्रिय जीत हैं, मानव जाति के कल्याण में रत हैं, ब्रह्म से मुक्ति प्राप्त करते हैं, ब्रह्म में मुक्ति प्राप्त करते हैं. With sins obliterated, doubts removed, senses subjugated, the rishis contributing to the welfare of mankind attain emancipation in spirit. So, Master says the word rishi is used for a soul who has already attained emancipation, and by divine decree or because of divine will, that person comes back to earth to help other souls. So, and for he gives the example specifically of Lahiri Mahasaya, and he said the outward role does not count. The Lahiri Mahasaya is a born rishi, so he is already enlightened. So he does all of these four things that have been mentioned here. And what are these four things? He says the sins obliterated, doubts removed, senses subjugated, and contributing to the welfare of mankind. So it does not matter on the outside what the person is doing, because if there is inner renunciation, which is actually the theme of this entire chapter, chapter 5, then whoever actually stands, hungrily for God, then that person can achieve God. This is the promise of the scripture. This is the promise of the rishis. This is the promise of the Guru. So it does not matter where we are at the physical level. In fact, where we are is because our karma has brought us here, and the lessons that we need to learn will come here itself. The other thought process is if God If I cannot find God where He Himself has put me, where else will I find Him? So this is the place right now, right here in the current circumstances. Change nothing. Right now, only we need to change ourselves. As Sister Gyanamata said, Lord, change nothing outside me, change me. So everything around me has been arranged in such a way that I learn from it and then I rise beyond it. I understand the mechanics of this and then I go beyond and transcend this. So therefore, do not wish and will and want and pray that circumstances will keep changing for you, that they become more comfortable, they become more pleasurable, they become more easy, because Master said easy life is no good life. A difficult life, a challenging life where you have raised your energy, where you have achieved many things, that is a victorious life. From both standpoints, from your standpoint as an ego and from the divine drama standpoint, it will be an entertainment for the one who's watching. And you actually, the soul itself is watching. The soul is the experiencer eventually. So make your drama worthwhile. And but it becomes worthwhile only when we understand that actually we are not the doers and we are only playing this part temporarily. Okay. So coming back to the 4 criteria that have been mentioned here in this shloka. One is the one whose sins are destroyed. So how do we destroy the sins? Is by right now we do good karma. Right now we do meditative activity. Right now we are purifying our heart with devotion and love. Right now we serve our fellow men. Right now we contemplate on the higher truth. So whatever we have done in the past has been done already. We cannot change it. But we can do something right now which will obliterate, which will mitigate, and which will help us to remove the past sins. So sin, of course, is not like we have discussed this, that sin is merely error. It's because we are working in this world with 5 senses, and it is an illusory and delusional world which makes us believe about the variety. But the truth is that there is only one God everywhere. It's because we are error stricken. We don't understand this. Therefore, we perform some certain things wrong, which are called sins because they make us suffer. Okay, so coming back to the second point. The second point was the one whose doubts are removed. So the doubts are, is there a God? Does God love me? Is He really concerned about me? Who is managing this world? Where will I go when I die? So all of these doubts in the mind, how are they going to be removed? They are going to be removed only when you have first-hand direct experience of God. And the life of the avatars is here to tell us, yes, God, communion with God is possible. Firstly, there is a God, that God is real. And that experience of oneness with God is possible. It is possible to taste God in this life. The entire life of Ramakrishna Paramahansa, the entire life of Ma Sharada, the entire life of Swami Vivekananda, the entire life of Lahiri Mahasaya, Swami Shri Yukteswar, of Paramahansa Yogananda, entire life of Ramana Maharishi, all of these great saints. You talk of Guru Nanak Dev Ji, you talk of any other saint, Sai Baba on the other hand. So there's you enumerate them and you will find that their entire life is dedicated to that oneness, and therefore they have no doubt. And because they have no doubt about the truth of the Atman and the delusionary aspect of the world, because they have so much clarity, that is why they are able to guide the disciples with equal clarity. Now, when you were in school, you would have experienced that some teachers can teach very well and some teachers are not able to convey the message very well. It is because of the clarity of the subject that they have in their mind. So as clear the subject is in the mind of the teacher, that is the clarity with which they can present the subject to the disciple. And because saints and avatars are self-realized, they have tasted God firsthand, their entire life becomes a manifestation and a sharing of that very experience. And it is because of that truth that when we read books of Yogananda ji, and this is my own personal experience, when I read the first book, which for me, which was Journey to Self-Realization, each line and each word that I read from that book, it rang so much of the resonance of truth in my heart. I said, I just knew that this person is saying, whatever he's saying is the ultimate truth, is the 100% truth, and it cannot be otherwise. So it is because they are speaking from that truth of absoluteness, of stillness, of Atman, of oneness, because they are self-realized themselves completely. That is why they can convey that power to us. And then don't think that we are little ones, little babies crying here on earth. It is the promise of Christ. He said, to all those who received him, to them gave he the power to be the sons of God. So to all those who are open to the thought, not to the thought, to the experience that God is real, and then I can manifest that divinity in myself and then into my actions in this world. All those who have faith in this, and all those who continue to develop more and more faith in this, they will experience, they will know at a certain point in time that they are indeed sons of the one common Father. We are all children of that one light. We are that one light. The only difference between the great gurus and us is that they have realized it fully, and we are yet, uncovering the truth. We are removing our little desires, attachments, the likes and the dislikes, and all the caught up things that we are in. And the Gita is helping us to understand. And it is helping us to, bring us out from that whirlpool where we are sinking in. Okay. Point number 3 of this shloka, one who is self-controlled. Now, this is very important. Self-control comes at the level of the senses, it comes at the level of the mind, and it comes at the level of the intellect. Or a person who is self-controlled, only that person, because if you don't discipline your senses and your mind, then how will you transcend the mind? Eventually, we need to go beyond the mind. But unless we understand the maze of the mind, which can be done by controlling the senses, we will not be able to go beyond it. So therefore, we have to lead disciplined lives. Otherwise, we can forget that we will get self-realization, that we can put it on the shelf then, the goal of self-realization, and we can simply occupy ourselves with day-to-day worldly pleasures and pleasing experiences. But then what is going to happen? This is the world of duality. All those that pleasantness that you have experienced will be converted to pain, or to sadness, or to boredom, or to feeling of emptiness. So now when I say emptiness here, there is this one vast emptiness which is described by the Buddha, which is nirvana, which is different. I am talking of the boredom aspect, where we don't know what to do with ourselves. So what do we want to caught up, be? Where should we be? Where do we want to be? If I want indestructible bliss, then I have to lead a disciplined life. This is a simple mathematical formula and no rocket science at all. Okay, now point number 4, the one who is contributing to the welfare of mankind. So of course, as we said earlier, because this sage has Atma Drishti and he sees everything as a manifestation of that one divine, he is able to love and have compassion for all beings. And then with whatever his body, his time, his energy, he is able to do so much good for mankind. And this is the mark of most avatars. You name any avatar, they actually have come to help mankind, because mankind gets stuck in mental ruts, and these people show us the way out. They shine the light and they tell us, this is the way you walk and you will, come outside. Now, even they have so much compassion. Now, considering the life of Jesus, he was a sinless one. He had no karma of his own to resolve or dissolve. And yet he suffered so much. What was that for? Why did he take on so much suffering? It was because it is said that he took up the karma of so many of his close disciples and the masses at large. And of course, he gave such a beautiful set of teachings. And now come parallelly to the life of Krishna. It may appear that Krishna had a nice and sweet life. He used to steal some butter when he was a child. He used to have teenage nice time with the gopis when he grew old, and then he was a king. No, not at all. Please read the life of Krishna in detail, and you will find that almost every day or every month or every year, every step of his life, he had so many demons that came not only to kill him, to destroy the peace of his kingdom. He had so many attacks on his empire. Every day he was fighting a battle to uphold righteousness. His life was no easy life at all. So the avatars come here to protect us, to show us the way, and it is only to our benefit that we see the life of avatar. Instead of seeing channels on TV which are showing idols as only Hollywood or Bollywood stars or maybe cricketing stars, we should rather have idols and ideals as the saints who have conquered the very delusion this world presents to us. These should be our ideals. And if these are our ideals, then instead of watching too much TV, we would rather be reading what they have said. We would rather be trying to experience what they have experienced. And therefore, we have senses, 5 senses operating in this world. So let us use those 5 senses to obliterate sin and to rise above ego-ness, our egoity. So whatever instruments you have been given, you have a body, you are breathing, you have a mind, you have an intellect, or use all of that instrument to contemplate upon the divine and your own highest self. And it is not possible that you will not attain enlightenment. Just be very, very, particular about utilizing your time. Every minute counts. Now, every minute counts for those who are actually really desiring to be free. If you're enjoying this life, which you think is like fun, please go ahead. But the moment you have thought, I want moksha and I want it now, then the easiest way is in every second and every moment of your life, God should be in some way part of you, in the sense either you're contemplating or you're doing japa or you're doing selfless service or you are meditating or you are reading something about the Lord or you are hearing something about the Lord or you're chanting or you are stilling yourself in meditation. You may think this is difficult. Okay, then take your time to be free. So it all depends on us. Everything is available right now, right here. It is up to us what we are clinging to, what we are trying to grasp. Are we going to grasp this impermanent world which only promises happiness and doesn't give it? Or are we going to grasp something which appears to be difficult in the beginning, but that thing will provide us that indestructible bliss that is being talked about in the Gita and that each of our hearts is actually seeking. Okay. So we now come to shloka number 26. Kama krodha viyuktanam yatinam yatta chetasam abhito brahma nirvanam vartate viditatmanam. ऐसे सन्यासी जो काम और क्रोध से रहित हैं, जिनका मन उनके वश में है तथा जो आत्म साक्षात्कार प्राप्त हैं, वे इस लोक में तथा परलोक दोनों में पूर्णता मुक्त हैं. Renunciates who are desireless and wrathless, mind controlled and self-realized, are completely free both in this world and in the beyond. So this is a beautiful promise in the beyond. So if you are practicing meditation right now, and if you are communing with God right now, if you're able to become a Jivan Mukta right now, the Gita promises that in the beyond you will be able to carry your self-realization. So whatever hard work and effort you're putting while you are in a physical human body will pay you results of self-realization, not only while you're in the body, but even when you leave the body. So what is being said here is a kind of your astral and causal karma will also be resolved to an extent, and that freedom and that bliss that you attain here on earth, you will take it beyond this physical life. And if you go back a few centuries, or let's say a couple of millennia ago, when people were doing only the karma kand part of the Vedas, means they were involved in religious rituals, and there were religious rituals in which they would do certain rituals so that they get a place in heaven. People wanted to secure a place in heaven, but the problem that heaven is also temporary. So what heaven is being promised here is like permanent bliss, everlasting bliss, now in this life and beyond. And that is what we want. We want unconditional, everlasting, indestructible bliss. And therefore, we have been given this opportunity of this lifetime with our true Guru with our side, with a true technique, the path given to us, the key to the kingdom of God has been given to us. So what are we going to do with the key? Are we going to keep it in the almirah and forget it? Or are we going to use it daily? And little by little, open the door to infinity and become that one eternity and infinity itself. So the choice always, and the power, the choice, everything lies with us. Okay. So again, the conquest of desire and anger has again been mentioned here. So for all of us, we can simply, if we say, okay, per day, if we say, okay, today I am not going to lose my anger, we can work little by little. So if we say that, okay, next few hours or next one day or next 1 week, let me take this sankalp, let me put it in my mind. So then if we conquer even one of these, it is going to be a big help to us. It's going to hasten our evolution. And we know another emotion will come later in the couple of shlokas later, which we'll also talk about. But desire and anger. Just think about these. These are gateways to hell, hellish existence, and hellish existence even now. Why? Because they perturb you so much. How difficult it is to handle a bout of anger, not only for the person who is at the receiving end, but the one who is getting angry. It is hellish existence. Why do you want to be in a hell right now in the body? Just relaxed. Cast aside anger and you will attain peace. Cast aside anger and you will attain bliss. Cast aside your reactive process of anger. Respond with peace and calmness. Cast aside your habit pattern which has gotten into you of anger. By regular meditation, cauterize the grooves in your brain which causes you to react in an angry way. We must do that. This is the effort we have to put in. Okay. So Master explains on this shloka, he says, the spiritually ardent who have found their soul and its connection with spirit achieve emancipation in this life and carry with them the same realization into eternity. So it is forever. The word Jivan Mukta, literally meaning freed while living, in a strict sense applies to a yogi who, by refraining from new desires, has destroyed the very root cause of reincarnation. So as soon as you say that I am not going to have any fresh entangling desires, that very moment you have started to walk on the path which stops to reincarnation to happen again and again and again. So the Jivan Mukta, Master says now, Jivan Mukta has no fresh desires and is not creating any further karma. But he still has seeds of past karma which he has to work out. So how does the Jivan Mukta work out those seeds? One way is that he still has the physical body and he may still have certain pleasurable and painful experiences, and he tries to, even-mindedly go through those experiences. The other is that he meditates on a daily basis, and by techniques like Kriya Yoga, he can actually remove the vrittis that are stored in the chakras and get free from those. Another method that has been mentioned by Yogananda is very interesting. He says that a Jivan Mukta in a conscious meditative session can burn the seeds of past desires into that meditative action. So just to understand this in a very, very simple way, so let us assume that there was this person who was a spiritual aspirant, but when this person was younger, let's say there was this young boy who used to have an intense desire of owning a Ferrari car. Okay, so he has an intense desire for Ferrari. So it is there in his mind. But as he grows up and he matures and he understands the ways of the world, he knows that it is useless to go into the the effort of actually gaining so much money as to buy a Ferrari. I'd rather use my mind, my attention, my energy in different ways. So he overcomes, in a sense, that need or the desire to have a Ferrari. But then one day he goes out and he sees a Ferrari crossing, and then the seed which was there in the memory suddenly awakens and suddenly attracted to that car. So then what happens in the case of a lay person, a person who is not putting in self-effort, he'll go home and again start to calculate how much money would I need to have a Ferrari, how much loan will I take, how will I repay that, how much debt can I take, and what can I put as a recompense, means can I put some property against it and get some. But what will a Jivan Mukta do? Master says a Jivan Mukta in a conscious meditation. So he can bring up, as he is meditating, in his stillness, in the stillness of his awareness, he can actually consciously bring up the thought of the Ferrari in his mental sky. And then from his heart, practicing a distance, an aloofness and a detachment from that, he will let go consciously any need or any desire for that object. And then once he comes out of that meditation, he's going to be free from that. So there are many ways in which the Jivan Mukta is going to work out the seeds of the past karma which are left and which he doesn't want to sprout and create more bodies. Of course, whatever karma is left will be worked out, whether it is in one lifetime or little few more lifetimes, but it is so much better as compared to thousands or millions of lifetimes that have been mentioned in the scriptures. Okay. So, one who on earth has destroyed all desires and all karma, past as well as present, is truly called a Jivan Mukta, freed while living. And we know that Yogananda ji as well as Swami ji, they have all told us that we should aim at becoming a Jivan Mukta in this life. This should be our aim, and we should be very serious about this aim. Because otherwise, casually, life will flow by. The day will start, you will do your same mechanical, robotic things. It will end, you will eat, you will earn, you will sleep. And then another day will arise, and this is exactly what the animals do. They also wake up in the morning, they look for their food, they have their food, they rest, or they have some play with their mates, and then they sleep. So are we going to have that continued animalistic life? Is that the goal of our life? No, we clearly understand that that is not the goal of our life. Our goal of life is self-realization, that freedom from all suffering, and to have that, we must become a Jivan Mukta in this life. And again, that means we must utilize every minute of our time, every ounce of our energy, and every focus of our attention should be, towards that highest goal. Otherwise, as the Gita has said earlier, that life is lived in vain and in pain. So we might as well get going. And a journey of 1,000,000 miles starts with the first step. So wherever we are, we must take that little step towards self-realization now itself. Okay. This brings us to shlokas number 27 and 28. They are taken up together. Sparshan kritva bahirbayansh chakshurchevantare bhruvo pranapano samo kritva nasyabhyantar charino. Now, before I go into next shloka, it's a very interesting Sanskrit shloka, and all those who even know Hindi will understand it. So word by word, if we were to this, Sparshan Kritva Bahirbayam. This is talking about this outward sensory, the sensations of touch and all other sensory world. So the first two words say that once you interiorize that attention which is going out into the sensory world, then it goes on to say Chakshushchevantare bhruvo. So bhruvo is the eyebrows. So in between the eyebrows, you must focus your attention. Then it says pranapano samo kritva, means pran and apan, they must be harmonized and neutralized, cancelled out, neutralized in a way. Then it says nasya bhantar charino, means feeling the air currents in the nasal passages. So does this sound familiar to Kriya Yogis? 100% it sounds familiar. Does it sound familiar to anybody doing other pranayams as well? Yes, a little familiar. But for the Kriya Yogi, the meditator, it is an absolute mention. So this shloka, and also I think in chapter 4, shloka number 29, I think, yes. So there also a direct mention was of the Kriya Yoga, where it is said that the inhaling breath offered into the exhaling breath and the exhaling breath offered into the inhaling breath will neutralize both. So there is a direct mention of the technique of Kriya Yoga here, and therefore, so all those yogis who are into dhyana yoga will be very influenced and interested by this. But although, of course, there are many aspects of looking at the Gita, the Advaitin will see everything from the Advaita point of view. The Bhakti Yogi will see everything from the Bhakti point of view. But here, Master has encompassed all four yogas for us and has told us the attitudes and the things that we can do involving all of this. So let's move on to shloka number 28. Yatendriya yamno buddhir munir moksha parayana vigate chabhaya krodho yasada mukta evasa. So Hindi for both shlokas together. Ek muni, अर्थात वह व्यक्ति जो मुक्ति को अपने जीवन का एकमात्र उद्देश्य मानता है और इस कारण स्वयं लालसाओं, भय और क्रोध से मुक्त रहता है, वह अपनी इंद्रियों, मन और बुद्धि को नियंत्रित करके नाक में श्वास एवं प्रश्वास के रूप में अभिव्यक्त प्राण और अपान के प्रवाहों को सम अथवा निष्प्रभावित करके उन्हें बाह्य संपर्कों से हटाता है। वह दोनों भौहों के बीच अपनी दृष्टि को स्थिर रखता है। इस प्रकार भौतिक दृष्टि के दो प्रवाहों को सर्वज्ञ सूक्ष्म नेत्र के एक प्रवाह में परिवर्तित करता है। ऐसा मुनि पूर्ण मुक्ति को जीत लेता है। A muni, he who holds liberation as the sole object of life and therefore frees himself from longings, fear, and wrath. So fear is the third emotion we were talking about earlier. He controls his senses, mind, and intelligence and removes their external contacts by a technique of making even or neutralizing the currents of pran and apan that manifest as inhalation and exhalation in the nostrils. He fixes his gaze at the middle of the two eyebrows, thus converging the dual current of the physical vision into the single current of the omniscient astral eye. Such a muni wins complete emancipation. So here we are again about technique of Kriya Yoga. All those Kriya Yogis are present there. You should thank the master for giving you a direct technique of salvation, of emancipation, of nirvana, of moksha, of final freedom, whatever you want to call it. But you have it right there with you. And for all those who don't have it, you may have your gurus and you may have been initiated into other techniques. So whatever techniques you have been given by your God-sent guru, practicing that, you can achieve liberation. But for Kriya Yogis, disciples of Paramahansa Yogananda and the line of gurus, this is the key to the kingdom. Okay, so a little medical exercise I'll just bring it. So what the Kriya Yoga is, it has so many benefits. So at the physical level, what that does is it makes possible an enhanced as absorption of oxygen from the flowing breath. And that increased oxygenation rejuvenates the cells more. And that is why it has an anti-aging property. Besides that, it activates a particular aspect of the nervous system, which is called the parasympathetic nervous system, which is the brake phenomenon. So it helps you again to relax, to rejuvenate, to repair, and be in the present. So it really relaxes the high stress nervous system, which is present in urban scenario these days. And then obviously it also improves our immunity. It gives us a better blood circulation. It improves the hormonal balance of the body. So at the physical level, so much is happening. At the pranic level, because it is harmonizing the prana and because all organ systems are actually being run by pranic currents, therefore it is improving the functioning of all organ systems of the body. As far as the mind is concerned, it helps to get a clear mind, a focused mind, because here we are focusing at the prefrontal cortex of the brain. And it is the function of the prefrontal cortex of the brain to develop that will, that judgment, that efficiency, and that, power of focus, concentration, and all of that. So automatically we are improving in clarity and focus. Besides that, Kriya Yoga helps us to conquer emotions. And the scientific basis for that is that the area of the brain that controls emotions is the limbic system. And when we practice a technique like Kriya Yoga or other meditative techniques, again, the energy is withdrawn from the limbic system and is brought to the prefrontal cortex. And therefore, you can override your own emotions. You can be master of your own emotions. And of course, at the spiritual level, we know directly that firstly, it can help to dissolve past karma and help us to be free. Secondly, it can give us first-hand experience of the absolute spirit, of the stillness, of the bliss of Satchidananda. And therefore, Kriya Yoga is that one-stop shop which will give you all that you want. We are souls who have a body, who have a mind, who have a heart, and all of this together as one system can be improved and, of course, taken to freedom by this one beautiful God and Guru given technique of Kriya Yoga. So again, Kriya Yogis, please be happy. Okay. So a very interesting thing. So we'll take another 5 minutes today and finish chapter 5. We are almost at the end. So important thing that Master points out here is that eventually path to realization has to go through the astral spine. So Kriya Yoga is that technique which works directly on the astral spine and the energy. Now, other techniques like bhakti or karma or gyan, eventually they will also have to work through the astral spine, because eventually the kundalini has to be raised and merged with the the sahasrara. The shakti has to merge back with the Shiva in a sense. So the other will also lead to that, but in a different manner, in a slower manner. But Kriya Yoga will directly work on that current, which has to be, the Kul Kundalini, the Draupadi, which was marrying all the 5 Pandavas, and then he has to go out. So that Shakti we are working on with directly, and therefore it gives us the advantage, and therefore Kriya Yoga is also the airplane route to God. Okay. This brings us to the final shloka of chapter number 5, and this is what it says. Bhoktataram yagtapsam sarvalok maheshwaram suhridam sarvabhutanam gyatva mam shanti mrichati. जो मुझे, so Krishna, this is a dialogue. Krishna is speaking to Arjuna. He is saying, जो मुझे पवित्र अनुष्ठानों, यज्ञों और तप भक्तों द्वारा दिया गया, जो the oblation basically, से भोक्ता के रूप में, सृष्टि के अनंत प्रभु के रूप में तथा सभी प्राणियों के सदैव मित्र के रूप में जानता है, वह शांति प्राप्त करता है. He finds peace who knows me as the enjoyer of the holy rites or yagyas and of the austerities offered by devotees, as the infinite Lord of creation and as the good friend of all creatures. So after having explained such heavy techniques and such heavy wisdom, he ends with this sweet note. So the one sage who understands that the Lord is the one doer, the creator, the sustainer of all universes, that one Lord is all pervading, that one Lord is the very life pervading through everybody. He is the one living through these bodies and minds, the one who understands this, and the one who feels that I am the friend of all. Such a one attains eternal peace. So with this beautiful statement, chapter 5 ends, and we will read the closing statement, which we read at the end of each chapter, and this is how it goes. Om Tat Sat. In the Upanishad of the Holy Bhagavad Gita, the discourse of Lord Krishna to Arjuna, which is the scripture of yoga and the science of God realization, this is the 5th chapter called Union Through Renunciation of the Fruits of Action. Om. So dear friends, we end today's class and we share the power of these teachings with souls everywhere. Let us pray together. Divine Mother, beloved Lord Krishna, thou art omnipresent. Thou art in all thy children. Manifest thy healing presence in all bodies, all minds, and all souls. Om. 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 Divine Mother, beloved Krishna, great Gurus, may thy love shine forever on the sanctuary of our devotion, and may we be able to awaken thy love in all true hearts. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti.